this is something developing. It happened over the weekend in DC. And I was alerted because someone on social media actually tagged me and tagged TYT. And I started to look into this story, and it did not have a national presence as of yet, but local news picked up on it quickly. There's a sports bar called Nellie Sports Bar in DC. Nellie Sports Bar just opened for full capacity last weekend, just over the weekend. They said, okay, we are opening up full capacity. They had a big crowd there. What you see in a video is so disturbing. It is so horrendous that it shocks the conscience. And this is a young black female being dragged out of Nellie Sports Bar by her hair. She's being dragged by her hair. Let's go to the first video. Now, many people on social media are saying, well, what did she do? I don't give a damn what she did. I do not care what she did. And that's not the issue here. She's inside of a club being dragged out. If she did something illegal, call the police, put her in handcuffs, apprehend her, take her to jail, okay? You have a security guard dragging this black female, young black female, out of a restaurant by her hair down the steps on her damn back. Do you really care what she did? Of course not. If she did something illegal, she would have been arrested. And by the way, she was not arrested. She was simply accosted, assaulted, and taken out of that bar by her hair. Now, a gentleman did decide to intervene. I don't know if the guy was with her. I don't know. I have no words for him. I don't have any criticism for him whatsoever, because in the context of what he saw a person being assaulted. He saw a young woman being assaulted, and he jumped in. I have no issue with him at all in this conversation. Now, according to another report, the young lady did speak to a local journalist after the event. And here's some of that conversation.
It was an altercation in there. They was trying to get some other people out because somebody else brought a bottle in there. Somehow I got mixed up in the altercation because I looked like somebody else, and I got hit and dragged down the steps. I didn't do nothing wrong, and that's all I wrote. Is first walking up the steps and getting dragged right back down the steps.
To see the video of yourself being dragged down the steps, what is that like for you?
It's a little bit much, you know.
What do you want of Nellie's?
Huh?
What do you want of Nellie's?
I want a bond.
She said she wants that restaurant, that bar gone. Nellie's did release a statement. Let me read this statement. We were incredibly upset and disturbed to see the unfortunate event that took place at Nellie's last night. We are undergoing a full investigation of the situation at Nellie's. We foster an inclusive and safe environment, so events like this are completely unacceptable to us, Nellie Sports Bar. I did hear from some of the protesters that they had a Black Lives Matter sign at the establishment. But once again, you have extreme violence. I know this is not the police, I understand that. This is a security guard, police-like, okay? Treating an unarmed black female in this manner and willing to do so in front of black patrons at a restaurant. We have lost our way. Brother, what are your thoughts about it?
You know, it's interesting that, you started talking about, like, people say, well, what's the context of this? Okay, well, yeah, you're right. The context doesn't matter. And obviously, if she had done anything that was even close to illegal, that would have already been included in all of the news stories about this. And the reason it wasn't was, one, obviously it didn't happen, but two, they didn't even have apparently the right person, according to the young woman herself. She's not the one who, broke a bottle is the issue. They broke a bottle, and so you drag her out, risk severe injury to this woman just because you're some kind of wannabe Rambo that got stuck working as a security guard for a bar. I mean, that's what we're looking at here. I fully think that whoever this man was, dragging her down the stairs, is somebody that doesn't care about human life whatsoever. They got this position because they probably felt something was lacking inside of them. Maybe they have the chance to go be this big tough commando. Maybe they weren't good enough to get on a real police force to where they could go cause real damage. So maybe this is the best that person could do, but it's sickening to watch this happen because there is literally no excuse for this whatsoever. And as far as the Black Lives Matter sign in their window goes, I think a lot of companies like this are just using it really as marketing. It doesn't represent at all what they actually stand for. They stick it up there because they think, oh, this is good. People, maybe people come in because of this, think that we're good people and spend lots of money at our establishment. It's branding for them at this point. It means nothing to them other than dollars.
Yeah, and see, you got to be very careful with companies like this. There are restaurants I won't eat at today. For example, the Waffle House. All right, that's a Southern thing. Some of y'all around the country may not even know what the Waffle House is. But if you go to Georgia, you got a Waffle House on every corner. Well, a couple of years ago, there was a black female who was assaulted by an off-duty police officer who was working security in a Waffle House. And this was over a spoon and a fork. One of the employees decided to charge this woman 50 cents for plasticware, even though she had already purchased her meal. And she says, listen, I'm not paying 50 cents for plasticware. They exchanged some words and she was told to leave. Well, she did not leave upon command because she's not a slave. And the older white police officer who was there decided to assault her, took her shirt off, her body was exposed, and it was just an insane thing. Well, the Waffle House establishment, they came out before an investigation. They came out basically hours later and stood behind this police officer, even when the jurisdiction he worked for said, wait a minute, we got some questions about this. Waffle House had no questions about it. So I decided to never eat at a Waffle House again. And brother, let me tell you something. I used to eat at the Waffle House a lot. They lost a little chunk of change with me protesting and boycotting that establishment. But it goes to the place of not valuing not just black life, but black consumers. You mean to tell me you're willing to do this not only to black life, but to your consumer base? We all know in various cities in Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, the majority of people that eat at these Waffle Houses are black folks in many of the cities. Now you have Nellie's. Nellie's, once again, another establishment that caters to the urban culture. They have not, or at least a security guard has expressed, because this is a person that works for the company, that they do not appreciate black consumerism. What are your thoughts?
I remember that Waffle House video you were talking about too, very vividly. That was another one of those that's just shocking because of how crazy the response was from that police officer at the time. But the situation with Nellie's, where they say, listen, we're gonna investigate this. What is it? What is there to investigate? What do you have to investigate? The guy works for you. You walk up to him and you say, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Like that's how that conversation needs to go. And you tell him, listen, you got 2 minutes to give me the best reason you can think of before you walk out my door forever. You've destroyed everything we're trying to build here because you couldn't control yourself for 5 damn minutes to figure out what actually needed to take place because of a broken bottle. I'm typically not, the kind of person that says, let's fire people. We got an unemployment problem as it is. But this kind of person should not be working in this industry given this kind of behavior. There's no excuse for this, and you can't give them the opportunity to do this again. If I was the business owner, this individual would have been gone moments after that incident happened.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how Nellie's play this, because this is not a police officer with qualified immunity. This is not a police officer with a police union backing him. This is not a police officer that has the blue shield connected to him. So not only should this police officer be fired, or this security guard be fired, this wannabe police officer should also have a charge. And if I were the owner of Nellie's, I would be one, releasing a statement that I fired that clown, and number two, making sure that everyone knows I'm working with local authorities to see if we can actually press criminal charges, because to me, not only did you assault a customer, but you created a disorder in my establishment. So while I may not have power over how the police charge that individual as it relates to the young lady. She has to press charges. I do have power for the disorder you have brought to my establishment.
And of course, just the general destruction of this business reputation. That's not something that's going to be built. Even if they come out and they fire this guy immediately, the damage is done. And it's done because of that one individual. And I do believe, unless I'm mistaken, I believe they've set up a GoFundMe for the young woman that was dragged down the stairs. I think so. So everybody, check that out, because that's obviously something. It was nice to see her in the response video that she appears to be okay, but you never know with some kind of injury like that if anything could have been, sustained. So worth checking out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope she stops talking to the media, gets lawyered up, and sues the hell out of Nellie's.